Hey guys, so J. Cole just dropped a new album, The Fall Off, and of course, this has been a highly anticipated release for J. Cole. He's been hyping this project up for a while, so let's review it. So normally, for album reviews, I go through every track like I did for Don't Be Dumb, the A$AP Rocky album. I can't do that with this one. Like, there's 24 tracks on this album. Like, I can't just go through every single one. But what I will do is I'll go through the album in order and I'll talk about any song that affected me either positively or negatively, or has something worth talking about. So if I don't talk about a song, it probably just didn't affect me in any way, either positively or negatively. And if I do talk about a song, then there's something in that song that I want to specifically talk about. So with that being said, the first song that stood out to me was Safety. It features a really nice melody on the hook. It's kind of that vintage kind of boom bap, cold beat. I like the theme of the song. It's like the lyrics are following his friends from childhood and wanting to know if they're safe, and so that resonates. Run a Train, another song on here, Jesus Christ, has great verses from Cole as well, but the hook is just questionable from Future, who's normally great on hooks and features, but I just wasn't really feeling the croaky upper register that he went into too much. And also just the lyrics "F the world, let's run a train" is that's just a really bad refrain. I'm sorry. Poor Thing, that's another good track where he kind of lets out his aggressive side, coming after some guy back home who I guess has an issue with him, and kind of this fake street guy. And I don't know who this guy is, but
man, what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
I mean, he was coming after this man crazy the whole track, I'm not gonna lie, but it made for a great listen for sure. Moving into Legacy. Legacy was a decent sounding track sonically, but just some really, really corny lyrics. Like this one: I just spent so long playing games and holding back, forgiving all of me, too scared I won't get it back. And yes, I'm well aware I rhymed the word back with back, because that's exactly the direction I'm tired of looking at. No, that's not it, bro. For someone who is hailed as one of the greatest lyricists of our time, who's propped up that way, and who his fans would even call top 5 all time, top 10 all time. Come on, that's just either lazy. I don't know if it's lazy or if you're trying to be trying to get too cute. I don't know what that is, but yeah, there's a few lyrics like that on here. Bruce Road Blues features a nice Twinkling Roads electric piano riff, with some really smooth kind of shuffling percussion to match. It was one of the first songs on here that stood out production-wise for me. I think Future and Cole just don't match for me. I think it's just I get the opposite styles thing, but for me it's just kind of like oil and water. They just don't really mesh well sonically. But Tem's vocals, heavenly as always. She always comes through. So that was definitely a highlight of this track. Who TF Is You? Just a boring hook. The beat sounded like a type beat from YouTube that could have been made in 12 minutes. And there's some great beats on YouTube. I'm not actually using YouTube beats. I actually want to start releasing beats on YouTube. But you just expect more from a project like this. And the first verse on this song just kind of sounded like this to me.
Lyrical Bible, not only am I the next Michael, I am the disciple.
The Let Out is really good. I think The Let Out is the best song in the album. So it's a great storytelling piece about him going back to the club back home in Fayetteville, but having to make an escape after slowly realizing that some of the guys in there are plotting to hurt him. So it makes for a really cool story. The production is also great. Features this kind of foreboding flamenco guitar kind of melody, and some equally foreboding sub synth bass. The hook is also very strong, and it features a nice wailing guitar solo layered into the background at the back end. So I think this is the strongest song both sonically and lyrically and conceptually. So definitely thoroughly enjoyed this track. Moving into Lonely at the Top. I appreciate this one for its unique perspective. It's a song about seeing the rappers he looked up to basically fall off, and how it's led him to feel uninspired, and how he hopes to re-inspire his favorite rappers in order to experience that same motivation. It's a nice, fresh perspective that I feel like only J. Cole would make a whole song about, and I say that in a complimentary way this time. No, I'm kidding. I definitely compliment that. I think J. Cole, one of his strongest abilities is the way he writes perspective and the way he approaches these feelings that we all feel in our own spaces, in our own worlds. And he kind of recontextualizes or provides a very unique and fresh perspective on them. That's definitely his strongest suit for sure as a lyricist and as a rapper. So moving into disc 2, we got 12 more songs on this, and that's a lot of songs. That's a whole separate album, really. A 39 intro was split into 3 parts. The third part was a standout for me because he snaps on that verse for sure, and the beat is amazing as well. It's centered around some strings from I think it's a Willie Hutch sample, which just uplift the track so much. And yeah, he definitely does that beat justice for sure. The fall off is inevitable. I'm not saying that about J. Cole. Like, that's the next song. That's just a track about him trying to fight off temptations over the course of his career and being a better man, and also features lyrics about him as a third-person observer, like observing his life from birth to death. So it's also a really cool perspective. Once again, like I said before, that's like one of his strongest suits. On the next track, The Villist, he has just a couple of interesting lyrics on this one. Like, he calls himself a mulatto, and he says, the hardest dude on the mic got a white mother. I think on a different track, he calls himself the half-black messiah. I think this is just kind of getting into Logic territory.
Light-skinned motherfucker certified as a house nigga. Well, I'll be goddamn, go figure. In my blood is the slave and the master. But he was born with the white privilege. I should be ashamed to be black. And some black people look ashamed when I rap, like my great-granddaddy didn't take a whip to the back.
Like, this is the stuff that we clown Logic for. I think if Logic says these lines, I think the internet would be completely frying him. And I guess J. Cole is just more liked, but I feel like it comes across the exact same way for me, which is just corny and forced and just not good lines. Getting back to the song, I like the second verse here. It talks about he talks about a childhood friend that was killed, and he kind of gets into a survivor's remorse feelings. It reminded me a bit of like old Kendrick, like 2011, 2012 Kendrick. And I like the Erykah Badu vocals, as always. I mean, it's just one of those features that just always hit. I wasn't really feeling Old Dog, like, at all. Like, the beat sounded like it could also be from like 2019. And I do not like PD Pablo. PD Pablo. I don't know if I haven't heard of him. Am I supposed to have heard of him? I don't know. I didn't like him as a feature. I just wasn't feeling this song at all. Only You, I also wasn't too fond of. Like, he was kind of just doing the Drake thing. And it's a song about his girl, but it's just so corny. I'm sorry. Like, I'm also a girlfriend guy myself, right? Like, I love my girlfriend, but like, these lyrics, bro. And I was feeling this way about Life Sentence as well. I don't know, they both just kind of came across as a little cheesy to me. And I'm not saying like, oh, you gotta be rapping about, hoes, and you gotta be rapping about groupies. Like, no, like, I actually love when rappers will rap about their partners or someone that they're really truly in love with. But I've just seen it done better, and with more nuance and more emotional resonance and less cheese. And this wasn't it for me. What If is about the Tupac Biggie beef from the perspective of both Pac and Biggie, and basically asserting that their feud was bolstered by the media and by East Coast West Coast wars, and that in the afterlife they would both regret beefing as they both lost a friend and lost their lives. Yeah, powerful stuff. Like, honestly, it's risky, it's daring, it's creative. So, props to him. And he also, like, if you listen to it closely, he kind of imitates Tupac and Biggie's respective flows on each verse, which I thought was great. And it was also just a much needed pick me up after this run of like 3 or 4 Diss 2 tracks that honestly weren't doing it for me. But What If is very strong in both concept and in execution. I also think it serves as an explainer, like, from his perspective on why he chose not to engage in the Kendrick beef, like, because of how that beef ended up. And honestly, I definitely understand them. Like, I think people who wanted J. Cole to respond so that they could feed into the negativity and clown him for protecting his peace and actually spending time with his family instead of staying up to 3 a.m. writing songs about another man. They were doing too much. Like, I mean, look at how Drake ended up by the end of this beef. I mean, look at this guy. Like, I'm glad J. Cole didn't listen to y'all and that he's happy with his choice and that he's, just happy in general, which he seems to be. So this was a great track. Whole World is a Ville features some nice vignettes about his come up in Fayetteville, including him rap battling people after Friday night football games as a teenager, which was pretty interesting to hear at the very least. I feel like the production on this back half is a bit bland and boring, especially for a few tracks on disc 1 as well, and and of course on disc 2, aside from some standouts. And I think that's what's been keeping it from reaching that next level for me. And I guess this kind of brings me into my overall thoughts, actually. So this album was definitely a mixed bag for me. I think the highs were very high, and they were high because of J. Cole's ability when he really puts his mind to it as a lyricist to provide unique and fresh perspectives and tell impactful stories in a short amount of time. Like, he's good at the vignette. A lot of rappers will have storytelling songs that reach 6-8 minutes. He does it in 3.5, 4 minutes, and you'll feel like you were there. And by the end of this album, you definitely achieve a new level of understanding of J. Cole himself. Because, and like I said, when he wants to be, he's very eloquent and truly one of the best lyricists of the generation. Now, when he isn't, he is not. Like, just so many of these bars, and I went through some examples, were just really corny and just felt corny and lazy, and just like, it felt like two different rappers. Like, the same guy who rapped The Let Out and What If called himself the Half Black Messiah, like, on the same album. It's just, I don't know, it just kept me from fully engaging because there were just so many corny moments. Also, I think that there were too many songs. Obviously, I think when I saw that there's 24 tracks, I'm like, okay, it's kind of like the Cardi album last year. Like, there were just too many songs, and he could have cut at least 5 or 6 of these, trimmed it down, and it would have been a much better project overall. And I don't think the lows were necessarily low at all. Like, even the songs that I considered that, like, I didn't like, they weren't bad songs necessarily. They just weren't for me. So it's not like the lows were very low. I think it was just too bloated. And I think this has been a criticism of J. Cole. I think just his beat selection isn't up to par with other rappers. I don't think he experiments enough sonically for my taste. I think the beat selection on this is very similar to the beat selection on Might Delete Later. It's very similar to the beat selection on The Off Season. I just don't think a lot of the production here really stood out, aside from a couple cuts. But, you know, I always do appreciate J. Cole's technical skill. He's just a very skilled rapper. He's definitely a craftsman. He takes his time, and he's incredibly authentic. Like, you can feel the authenticity through every song he makes, and that's refreshing. And that's always great to hear from J. Cole. But I still think for this album to be as anticipated as it was, it did fall short of that for me. However, there's a really good album in here, especially if you reduce the bloat, achieve more lyrical consistency, and take more risks sonically. There's a really good album in there. I don't know if it reached really good territory, but I would say it was solid. So overall, I'd give the album a 7 out of 10. All right, so that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed the video, even if you didn't agree. Keep in mind, these are just my opinions. You shouldn't enjoy the album any more or less because of any review. If you enjoyed it more than I did, then truly good for you. So yeah, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, whatever's on your mind, and I'll see you guys next video.